Yaga the Insatiable, a dangerous poison specialist. Is this the worst free champion in the game? Well, he's definitely in the conversation. What is up, guys? This is Corbin. I'm going to try and build a case for occasions where you might actually want to build some of these free champions that most people consider absolute trash. I'm going to do my best anyway. So what does Yaga actually do and why is he so terrible? His A1 has a 50% chance buck to placing 5% poison for a couple of turns. Fair enough. His A2 is a double hitter each again with a 75% chance bucked of placing poison debuffs for 2 turns. Fine. And then his A3 is also another single target hitter. Damage increases by 25% against targets under poison. Why is Yaga so terrible? First of all, the amount of skill books that he requires for not a lot of gain is kind of crazy as hell, right? It takes like a whole bunch of books to get his A3 down to a 4-turn cooldown, which is just nuts. His A2, you throw all these books into it, yeah, you get more chance to apply the poison, but it's still a 4-turn cooldown, like there's no cooldown reduction to be had here. And to top it all off, man, Yaga is outperformed by the uncommon champion Outlaw Monk, or at least matched in terms of value, who has a bookable down to a 3-turn cooldown, place 2 poison debuffs on the target for 2 turns. So if you're looking for a Demon Lord Clan Boss Poisoner, Yaga is probably not your goat. So under what circumstances would you possibly want to build yourself a Yaga the Insatiable? Well, the only scenario I can think of is it's a list, right? Point number 1, you started out your account without picking Kale as your starter champion, so you don't have a poisoner. Then when you play Raid, you kind of really don't play Raid. You log in every day, pick up the login rewards, then sort of log out, and you can't really be bothered. But then after a couple of months, you decide, you know what? I'm going to pick up Raid Shadow Legends and start blasting it as my main game. And would you look at that, I just got a free Yaga, and he's the only poisoner on my account. So that's condition number 2. And then condition number 3 is you only level your Yaga up to level 50 at the absolute highest, with the understanding that you're never going to put skill books into him, and you're eventually going to use him as a 5-star chicken. Is that the only case where Yaga is actually acceptable to level up and use? What do you guys think? Next up, we've got Tagore, who, wait a minute, Tagore's absolutely insanely awesome. The only reason he's on this list is because he is technically a free champion if you use my beginner promo link to sign up to Raid and create a new account right now. All you're going to do is sign out of Plarium Player on your PC and click on the link down below at the top of the video description box to create a new account using that link, and then get your hands on Tagore once your account hits level 15. You'll also be starting out your account with good old Bambus 4-leaf as your free starter legendary using that link as well. What's more, Alice the Wanderer is also the login reward champion right now as well, but only for a limited time. So if you're even thinking about creating a new account, now is the time to get it done to ensure that you're getting Bambus, Alice the Wanderer, the Tagore, an all-round excellent start while Alice is still the login reward champ, and before that offer expires in-game. I think there's only a few weeks left at this time. Next login reward champion is going to be Dark Aethel, and frankly Dark Aethel's weakness mostly comes in the form of you get Dark Elhain if you just wait 30 days longer. They're both for the Undead Hordes faction, except Dark Elhain is just better in almost every conceivable way, apart from the fact that Dark Aethel is slightly better into Spider's Den, but like that's about it. Dark Aethel has a double hitter A1, she's going to tackle enemies on the A2, 4-turn cooldown, and 75% chance booked of placing a decreased speed debuff for a couple of turns, which Dark Elhain also does, by the way. And then on the A3, it's to tackle enemies, place increased speed buff on Dark Aethel, and then she gets an extra turn if this attack kills 10 or more enemies. To be honest, it's quite easy to make a case for Dark Aethel if you're really struggling in Spider and you just didn't start off your account with a promo link or with the Alice login reward champion, and you're just really lacking good AoE nukers on your account and you are hard stuck on Spider stage 10, then fair enough, you can build a Dark Aethel, but frankly, I don't know, dude, I feel like she's so quickly out. Like, nuking down all of the Spiderlings on repeat feels like only an option for so long. Into Spider, Dark Aethel will eventually just not be able to cut it. She's only going to get you so far. I personally would not recommend building her, but there you go, man. Then again, there's people who also swear by Dark Aethel and say that, you know, people crapping her a little bit too hard. Maybe I'm crapping on her a little bit too hard, man. If you guys built Dark Aethel, do you still use her? Wish you were the skill books? Let me know down below, man. Next up, we've got good old Lordly Legionary, who, yeah, screw it. We're gonna do Lordly Legionary, man. Lordly Legionary is the 150-day login reward champion. 5 months of Raid Shadow Legends, okay? And therein lies the problem, okay? Because Lordly Legionary is kind of touted as a answer to the Fire Knight dungeon, right? He's got a double hitter A1. His A2 is a single target hitter with a 100% chance buck to placing decreased speed for a couple of turns, and also decreases the target's 10 meter by 20% if the decreased speed debuff is placed. So, you know, Bit of 10-meter control, requires it to be fully booked, really, to be any real use into finite, of course. You can't just be failing 25% of your runs because the decreased speed doesn't land. It needs to be fully booked. And then on the A3, he's got a reflect damage buff on all allies and a continuous heal buff on all allies also. Honestly, not a bad finite champion. If Lordly Legionary was like the 60-day login reward, we need to start a petition. Lordly Legionary should be the 60-day login reward champ when you actually need to start thinking about progressing in finite up to stage 16, 20, whatever. He might actually get some use then as like a progression epic that you could think about building out if you're just really lacking good decreased speed and 10-meter controller champs on your account and you just need an answer into finite so you're not stuck on stage 10 anymore, you know? But 5 months in, 5 months in. Okay, do you have any idea how inactive you have to be in Raid? Just logging in, collecting login rewards, then logging out. Like, you gotta be doing that for like 4 months, man. And then start playing the game seriously on like month 5 in order for Lordly Legionary to be worth considering. It's increasingly difficult to make a case for Lordly Legionary, but I've seen, again, I've seen some people build him, and some people say, you know what? On like my free-to-play account, I just didn't pull any 10-meter controllers, and Lordly Legionary actually came in pretty clutch and really helped the account out. Me on my free-to-play, I don't know, dude, like my free-to-play account, like 3 months in, I was already farming like stage 16 finite without too much trouble. Now, I know the game. I wasn't like a new player at the time I made my free-to-play account, so maybe I'm biased in that sense, but I don't even have a Lordly Legionary yet, and I will not be building him when I eventually get my hands on him. Next up, we've got to touch on Taenix Hateflower, which, if you're desperate for something in your Demon Spawn faction wars, maybe you could build her out, but honestly, this is another tough one to make a case for. In fact, there's a champ coming up on this list, by the way, that it's going to be impossible. I simply am going to recommend that nobody ever builds this champ and you just consider it a chicken from the moment you get it. But we'll get to that champ when we get to it. Taenix isn't far off. Okay, she's got a double hitter airborne. Attacks 2 times at random, so you can't even direct it against waves. Heals all allies by 3% of this champ's HP with each hit on targets under decreased speed. So it's a conditional mini heal, which sucks again because it's random. 2 is an attack 1 enemy, has a 80% chance booked. No, it doesn't. It has a 100% chance booked of placing decreased speed debuff on the target for 2 turns, and has then a 100% chance of placing decreased speed on all enemies for 2 turns instead if this attack is a crit. So, I don't know, dude. You've got to build her with crit rate gauntlets pretty much, because she's a support style champ. You actually got to build her with 100% crit, which is a little bit nutty. Then she needs high HP in order for her A1 to get off decent heals, but she also needs accuracy to place the decrease. Like, she's so stat hungry and gives you back so little in return, dude. It's really tragic. And then on the passive, decrease the damage all allies receive by a measly 5%. This champion will receive that damage instead. Okay, I mean, fair enough. Okay, the passive is okay. And you know what, man? The AoE decrease speed would also be okay as well. I don't know why it's conditional on a crit. Feels like it doesn't make any sense in the context of the rest of Taenix's kit, and given that she's an HP hungry champ, hungry champ. And it takes so many skill bucks, man. And for what? Where are you going to use her, right? Besides faction wars, besides wave content, and for how little she gives back. I mean, look, if you're absolutely desperate for some kind of wave controller champ for your Demon Spawn limited content in the game, I guess you can build out Taenix if you want, but my god, I can't imagine anybody happily putting their epic skill books into Taenix Hateflower. God, I did not do a very good job of building a case for that champion in the slightest. Next champion I'm going to touch on, we're getting away from the login reward champions here. I'm going to go ahead and touch on a champ that I do have. However, it's a champ that I fused and then proceeded to almost never use on the account. It's Yannicka, man. Now, this one might shock some people. Yannicka, I think I'm probably going to get some good use out of on the free-to-play account. Maybe. And honestly, I feel like I'm stepping into the lion's den a little bit here, man. I feel like this pick will be very, very divisive, but that's part of the reason I'm including it in the video. I want to hear what people think, because I can see myself building her on the free-to-play account. But if you're spending in any amount on your account, she's probably going to fall by the wayside pretty quick, and by the time you get around to like deciding to build her, or you're finally getting around to fusing her, the chances are you've probably got a bunch of other champs that are just easier to build, epic, super good epic nukers, or even legendary nukers that are waiting in the queue that you're just going to use in more areas of the game than Yannicka. Oh god, since the rating review reset thing, her reviews have actually taken a little bit of a nosedive since the reset, with reasonable ratings in arena offense, but I think I about agree with these. Like, she's a pretty good Nuka, but I think when it actually comes time to consider leveling up and ranking up and building your Yannicka, she just continuously, for me at least, was getting knocked further and further down the priority list. And even though I did eventually rank her up to level 60 and stuff, it was more because I just didn't have anybody else to build. She wasn't a high priority build, you know. Her A1, like, she's actually got a pretty good kit though. It doesn't make any sense, right? So, attacks one enemy 2 times, each hit has a chance of placing leech debuff, attacks all enemies 2 times instead if this champion is under a veil buff, which she does place herself, so her A1 is pretty solid. The A2, it's an attack one enemy, she places Veil on herself if the attack is a crit, and then she grants an extra 10, and then she can smack him with the A3, which is an attack all enemies, ignoring shield buffs. And her aura is also an attack aura in all battles, by 30% as well. Not that bad of a champion, doesn't even require that many skill books to rank up, but because of how many areas of the game she doesn't really flourish in, I feel like that just kind of holds her back a little bit, man. She's obviously worth getting on every account because it's just clan gold, right? You're just spending your clan gold on the Yannicka, you get to fuse her during a champion chase and get some free points that way, so she's always worth getting. But am I the only one? Am I crazy as hell when I think that she just hasn't really offered that much to my account when I eventually did get my hands on her? Next up, we're not going to spend very long on this one. It's bloody Relic Keeper, okay? Of all of the fusion champs that you can build, people have discussions about Rajin Scarhide, who I've obviously fused on my main account here, and so I can't see his fusion anymore, but Relic Keeper is, of course, a repeatable fusion. He's technically a freebie champion if you want to get your hands on him, but people kind of just fuse Relic Keeper for easy champion chase points, and that's it. He doesn't really bring a whole lot to the table. I don't think there's really much disputation about how crappy Relic Keeper is. His A1, that's an attack one enemy, get an extra 10 if the target is killed. His A2, he places increased attack on himself, only himself, and then grants himself an extra 10, which is interesting, I guess. And then his passive, when hit by an enemy, he places a continuous heal buff on himself for a couple of turns. He just hits things with his hammer. That's it, really. He's just a handyman who they've put a helmet on, give him a shield, and that's the champion. That's it. How do I build a case for Relic Keeper? Faction wars, I suppose. I don't know, dude. I don't know. He's a really, really tough one, man. Oh god. And now I'm getting to the champ that I'm just not even gonna try and build a case for. I think this might be the biggest, dude. I don't even want to say. There are no words, okay? Without getting this YouTube video demonetized, there are no words that can adequately describe how bad this champion is, man. These ratings are actually overrating ZXG, can I just say, by the way. ZXG, okay. You know what? I'm just going to go through the kit first and judge how bad she is, right? So she's got an A1, that's an attack one enemy, very tiny chance of placing an extra hit. The modifiers on this A1 aren't particularly stupendous, and so even when you get the extra hit, it's not amazing, whatever. The A2 attacks one enemy, ignores shield and block damage buffs, places a block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn if this attack somehow kills an enemy. It doesn't hit very hard, so doesn't often happen. It's also only bookable down to a 4-turn cooldown. And then on the A3, place an increased crit damage buff and increased attack buff on this champ for 3 turns, then grant an extra turn. Okay. So she just stabs things one at a time, basically. That's like the entire kit. Also, whenever this champ kills an enemy, decrease the cooldown of her A2 by a 10 as well. I mean, this is a rare champion, and a not very good rare champion, wearing the skin suit of an epic. You know what's really crazy, though, about ZXG? Is that she is reward number 7 for farming champion fragments from normal Doom Tower secret rooms. You know what that means? It means once you start farming normal Doom Tower secret rooms, if you're farming like every secret room in normal Doom Tower, you're talking like a year and a half into your account before you get ZXG. There's no defending this champion, dude. A year and a half of farming normal Doom Tower secret rooms. It takes so long to get her, and it's a chicken. The reward number 7 for farming normal mode Doom Tower secret rooms is a 4-star chicken. And we'll just leave that one at that. Now, you know how long it took you to get your hands on ZXG, right? A secret room, normal Doom Tower secret room, reward number 7. Krakath is reward number 9. So we're talking months after you get ZXG, you can get your hands on Krakath. Is Krakath the final reward for normal mode Doom Tower secret rooms? I think that she is, right? Let's check out the kit. The A1 attacks one enemy. I love how I've just stopped defending these champions as the video goes on, by the way. And like, I started out quite charitable, trying to make a case for these guys. Then as the videos goes on, I've just become unleashed, you know. Anyway, attacks of one enemy, 30% chance of removing one random debuff from a random ally. Will not remove a debuff from this champion. One random debuff from one random ally. Just gonna compare that to Dudan's A1 real quick, who also has a counter attack mechanic and a taunt built into his kit. Attacks one enemy, has a 60% chance book of removing one random debuff from all allies. Okay, back to Krakath. Year 2 is an attack one enemy, place a revive on death buff on this HP champion for 2 turns. Okay, bookable down to a 3-turn cooldown. HP based champion, by the way. Very, very tanky champion. Doesn't often die. Well, does she have some kind of like provoke or taunt mechanics maybe built into the kit so that she's likely, maybe, to die? Go to the A3, we'll answer that question. Bookable down to a 4-turn cooldown, place a strengthen buff and a shield buff equal to 20% of this champion's max HP on all allies for 2 turns. The answer is no. She makes herself even tankier, and so the revive on death effect on this A2 just makes absolutely no discernible sense, as far as I can tell. Has this ever triggered on a Krakath before? Ever in the history of Raid Shadow Legends? I'd actually like to, unless like you send the Krakath in with no gear. You know, don't get me wrong, this here 3 is actually pretty good. Like, this is basically the Krakath's entire kit, is place a good old strengthen buff, decent shield based on this champion's max HP. It's a shame it's on a 4-turn cooldown. If it was on a 3-turn, now we're talking. Look, she does a little bit of something then. But at a 4-turn cooldown, and the rest of the kit is absolutely terrible, and it takes you like 2 years or something to get your hands on Krakath from farming secret rooms, and she's the final Doom Tower normal secret room reward. Oi, 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 oi. Like, could this not be something a little bit better, Plarium? How about a revive on death effect across the entire team? Ooh, now we're talking. Or even just make the A3 a 3-turn cooldown. You know what I'm saying? Next up, where is he, man? Where the bloody hell is Chromax? I found him. He's a dark elf. There he is, man. Good old Chromax, reward number 7 as a legendary champ for farming hard mode Doom Tower secret rooms. So again, it takes you a hell of a long time to get your hands on Chromax. Is he worth it? Oh my god. People hate Chromax's guts, dude. People want to see him hung. People want to see him disemboweled. This is just horrible, dude. Okay, poor Chromax. The A1 is attack one enemy. Has 70% chance of placing decreased attack debuff for 2 turns when booked. Not a bad A1, actually, to be fair. The A2 attacks one enemy. 100% chance... Attacks one enemy, 100% chance of placing block buffs debuff for 2 turns. Also fill his champion's 10 meter by 30% on a 3-turn cooldown. Okay, couldn't it be block buffs on all enemies? Would that be too much to ask for a legendary champ that takes a hell of a long time to grind for free? And then the A3 provoke. 5-turn cooldown when unbooked. Okay, you can book it down to a 4-turn cooldown at least. Attacks all enemies, 100% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn, and a decreased accuracy debuff for a couple turns. Takes you approximately 10,000 years to grind this guy. Where do you use a 1-turn cooldown? Oh, sorry, a 1-turn duration AoE provoker with a 4-turn cooldown? Once your account is 10,000 years old, man. Where do you use a champ like that with his little single target block buffs, dude? I mean, for God's sake, Nalhorn, a rare champion, has a 3-turn cooldown AoE provoke that can't weak hit because he places the provoke. He doesn't attack enemies with a chance of placing provoke. Nalhorn just places it, okay? That's a rare champion. Chromax, force affinity, and because he's attacking all enemies, he has the chance of fluffing his provoke and weak hitting on the provoke, and it is not landing. To be fair, his passive, when attacked, also has a, I think that's 60% chance booked, or 70% actually, a chance of placing Hex debuff on the attacker for 1 turn after each hit. So there's a little bit of extra something there, but put him beside basically any of the other legendary champs you get from hard mode Doom Tower, and then consider that he's reward number 7, so it takes a hell of a long time to farm from those hard mode Doom Tower secret rooms, and then you get this. Look at this crafted. Poor Chromax, man. I mean, I guess you can build him as a provoker if you're desperate for Dark Elf provokers in things like, you know, Cursed City and that kind of thing. I suppose that's really the only scenario in which you might want to build him out, but let's be real, it's not exactly a champion that you're pumped and excited to get your hands on and to finally fuse on your account by the time Chromax rolls around. Now I hand it on over to you guys. Which free champions do you feel like I missed that are maybe either slept on and people kind of crap all over them, but you actually get pretty good use out of them? Maybe some of the champions that I covered in this happy little video are some champs that, you know, most people consider decent, but you built them out as a freebie on your account and they turned out to suck. I want to hear about it down below. And while you're down there, if you're looking to create a new raid account in 2025, then my beginner promo link, which is down below the top of the video description box, is the way to do it, man. Hit that link, use it to create your new raid account to get your hands on To Go at account level 15 and good old Bambus as your starter legendary champ.